Hi guys, it's Annie. Welcome back to Bloom TV. Today I am going to do my January book haul for you guys, and I got a total of 10 books in January, which is really good. I also had two pre-orders, well I had 3 pre-orders this month, 2 of which haven't arrived yet, even though they've both been released, so I'm not quite sure where those are, but they will be in my February book haul. So I also got 3 Kindle books this month, and they were all free, either through Amazon, like a deal, and I'm actually going to try and stop using Amazon, which is a whole separate video. So these were either through Amazon, like a deal, or they were just free on sale. So the first one is Neil Gaiman Stardust, and I don't actually have a Kindle. I have the Kindle app on my phone, and I read books occasionally on my Kindle app on my phone, so that's why I'm showing you on the phone. And this is, yeah, Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This was free for some reason. Like, there was like a certain offer, and I haven't read very much Neil Gaiman, but he's one of the authors that I really want to start reading this year. I really like him as a person. I think he's really interesting, and the only book I've read by him is The Sleeper and the Spindle, and I loved it so much. And I've also listened to Good Omens on the radio when they did a radio adaptation of it last year at Christmas, and I just really love him as a person, and I follow him on Twitter and he's fabulous. So I got that for free, which is great. I was planning on buying it in physical form anyway, but I might end up buying it in physical form, but I'll probably read it first on Kindle. And then the next book I have is Ignite by Lily Parody. This, I think, is a YA or new adult romance, and it was just free on Kindle. But I've seen, when this first came out, a lot of people received it for review, and it had mixed reviews, and at the time I really was kind of keen on buying it. I'm not quite sure what it's about. I know it's probably about a young girl, I think, whose parents die, or one of her parents die, and she meets this guy and falls in love with him. I'm not quite sure, but that's kind of the general synopsis that I know about. I'm not sure if I'm going to read this anytime soon, but I do like having books on my Kindle, on my phone, so that if I ever don't have a book with me, which usually doesn't happen, but if it does, then I've got my phone and I've got something that I can just read if I need to. And then the last book I had on my Kindle is actually a short piece of non-fiction, and it is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I think that's how you pronounce it right. Let me know in the comments if you do know. And it's We Should All Be Feminists, if I didn't say already. And this was adapted from a TED talk, or TED talk, that Adichie did, I think a couple of years ago or last year. It was fairly recently. About feminism, and I've already read this, so it'll be in my January wrap-up. I completely forgot what month it was then. So yeah, it'll be in my wrap-up, but needless to say, I really loved it, and it made me really want to read some more of her general fiction that she's written. So those are the 3 Kindle books, and then I have 7 books here, physical ones, and I managed, most of these I bought with gift vouchers that I got for Christmas, because my family and like extended family know how much I love books, so they usually, if they don't know what to get me, they get me book vouchers, which is really lovely of them. And then I have one that was a pre-order here, which was supposed to come in December. But the first physical book I have is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is such a cult epic fantasy or high fantasy classic book. One of my goals this year was to read more epic fantasy written by women, and one of those authors that I wanted to read more of was Robin Hobb. I've never read any of her books. I actually have this exact book on my Kindle, but I decided I wanted it in physical copy because these editions are so beautiful. I love them so much. I mean, they're kind of expensive, but they are really lovely. And this is really tiny, but it's £4, not £4, 400 pages, even though it hardly looks like it at all. It looks like a 250 page book, but it's actually 400 pages, which is just crazy to me. And I don't really know much about this other than it's a kind of coming of age story about, is it Fitz? Yeah, a child who is like a bastard son in the palace of perhaps the king or queen, and he's kind of ostracised from court, but he doesn't really know his place in court, and it's just kind of about him growing up. I think it's kind of a coming of age story. And I'm really excited to read it, and really excited to read more of Robin Hobb, so hopefully I will get to this soon. And then the next book I also bought from Waterstones the same day that I bought Assassin's Apprentice, and it is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is such a cult, book, I feel. There's actually a movie with the same title, and this is the original book. I've never seen the movie. It's a fact that I'm actually really ashamed of. Quite a few of my friends have seen it and they just think it's awful that I haven't seen the movie, because a lot of them grew up watching it. Never seen it. And yeah, this is the book, and this is a kind of new edition, I think, that Bloomsbury released, and it's so lovely. I don't really know much what this is about. I know it's kind of just a massive adventure story with kind of pirates and princesses and so many things. It says, so starts a fairy tale like no other, of fencing, fighting, torture, poison, true love, hate, revenge, giants, hunters, bad men, good men, beautiful little ladies, snakes, spiders, beasts, chases, escapes, lies, truths, passion and miracles. And I don't normally read off the backs of books for you guys, but I think that kind of sums up what this is about, and I am really excited to start reading this, and it's just so exciting, and I'm really excited to read this one. And then I also got a whole series this month. I just knocked my tripod then. And this is one which I've already read the first book in the series, but I read it from the library, so I decided just to buy all three from Foyles. And Foyles, I never bought from them online. I've been to their in-store shop, like the massive one, and also the smaller ones in London, but I've never bought from them online, and they are so fantastic. They have free delivery over £10, and also it arrived within 2 days, and I only had standard shipping, and it was crazy. I mean, my books did arrive, one of them arrived slightly battered, but I think that's because it was from the warehouse. But I'm totally fine with that. It was only a slight nick on the spine, so what are you going to do? It's not really their fault. But I would really recommend buying from Foyles online if you're in Britain, or I'm not sure quite what their European shipping prices are, but if you're in Britain and you want an alternative to Amazon, Foyles were really great. And yeah, just a little side note for you. But anyway, the trilogy that I brought from them was the Libba Bray Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray, and it comprises of the first book, A Great and Terrible Beauty, which I have actually read, the second book, Rebel Angels, and the third book, which is a weighty one, The Sweet Far Thing. And I love these covers so much. I just think they're really beautiful, and I just love them, and I really needed them in my collection instead of just buying them from the library. I think I read this in December or November, so you'll kind of probably recognise this, and I really enjoyed it. And it's about a young girl called Gemma. My memory is so awful today. Gemma, and she gets sent to this school for girls, and it's 1895, that's the year it's at, after her mother dies in India, and she grew up in India with her family. They were kind of an expatriate family, I think, if that's the right term. And she gets sent to England after her mother is murdered right at the beginning of the book, or died of unknown causes. And Gemma starts seeing visions, and it's kind of about magic and friendship and kind of girl strength. I think this book, the first book anyway, had really strong feminist undertones. Not strong, but it had feminist undertones, and it was so great. And excuse my phone, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it, so I had to pick up the rest of the series, although I was spoiled for the last book, which I'm never gonna stop complaining about, even though, to be fair, this series has been finished for quite a long time now. So that was the next series I bought. And then the book I had on pre-order was This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is the second book in the Starbound companion trilogy. These covers are freaking gorgeous. Amazon pushed my date release back. Yet another reason for me not to buy from Amazon anymore. But this actually did end up arriving quite early on in January. I've already read it. It'll be in my January wrap-up. And it was just so enjoyable. This is a kind of series, it's a sci-fi it's a sci-fi series, and the first book is about Lilac and Tava. All the books are told in dual perspective, and Lilac is a kind of society girl, and she is on this massive ship that her father built, and it's like the biggest of its kind. It's like a really massive new invention, and this ship crashes, and her and this soldier, who's like highly decorated soldier called Tava, get landed on this planet together, and it's uninhabited by anyone, and it's kind of like it's really a mystery, and they are trying to survive on this planet. And the second book takes place afterwards, so I won't give you a plot synopsis, but it does follow two separate characters, Flynn and Lee, who are on a separate planet, but I wouldn't go into the plot. But they are really excellent books, and I'd really highly recommend them. And they are science fiction, but I think you'd enjoy them even if you don't like sci-fi, because I don't read a lot of sci-fi, and I really enjoy this series. And Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner are two of the loveliest authors. I just get the impression that they're really nice when I see them in interviews together, so I really like supporting them. And then the last book I have is actually a graphic novel or comic, and it is The Wicked and the Divine by 4 separate people, and it only has their surnames on the front, and it's Gillen, McKelvey, Wilson and Cowles, and that is 4 separate people. I think they all, so I'll just read you the full names. It's written by Kieran Gillen, the artist is Jamie McKelvey, the colourist is Matthew Wilson, and the letterer is Clayton Cowles. So those are the authors of this, and this is the first volume in the Faust Act, I believe, entitled The Wicked and the Divine, and it is about a series of gods, it says every 90 years 12 gods return as young people, kind of every 90 years, and they kind of wreak havoc but are really loved, and I think they're in the public eye, and it's just about that. And I just really wanted to read this. This is kind of a newer series, and it sounds really good, and I really want to read more graphic novels. And they've also, the other work that these artists and writers have done looks really good as well, so if I enjoy this I'll definitely be picking up some of their other work. But here is just an example of the artwork. It's just got really lovely colours in it and just really gorgeous. There's another one which is kind of more full page work, and it's so beautiful. I haven't actually read it yet, which is surprising. I've just kind of been waiting until I'm in the mood for something like that. But yeah, I got that, and those are all the books that I got this month in January. Let me know in the comments what books you got this month, and if you've read any of these and which one you'd like me to read first if I haven't already read them, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye!